Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today is probably best known for spending these last few years behind the keys and sometimes the mic in the latest incarnation of Toto. But he's about to release a solo record on May 15th called Principle, and it features a lot of familiar names. Here to talk all about it, please welcome Dennis Atlas. Welcome, Dennis.
Hey, Jeff, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, Toto has a pretty packed tour schedule. So when it comes to the songs on Principle, were these tracks that you wrote on the road? Was this stuff you had in pocket for a while now? How did these songs come to be?
Yeah, actually, all of the above. A lot of these songs on this album were actually written while we were on the road in Europe in 2025. So a lot of them started there, and then, or the seeds of them started there, just writing from the hotel room. And then when I got home, I finished them up and added all kinds of other cool parts and stuff like that. And then there are a few songs that kind of had been lingering around for a little while and I'd had for a few years and thought that it would make a good match with what was going on here. So, yeah, good combination of that.
Lyrically, it feels like a very deep record. I mean, from the first single, Violent Power, to just the beautiful Different World, my favorite track, When the Monster Attacks, it feels really
Wonderful.
personal. I mean, where does your lyrical inspiration come from?
Wow. Well, thank you. Yeah, the inspiration is very personal and it's different for every song, but I really, when the seeds of songs start to kind of arise, I like to ask the song, what is this? What is this
Mm,
really about? It's kind of like when you have a feeling come up, or if you have any jealousy or resentment or excitement come up in your life, and you ask yourself, what is this really about? What is what am I being led by here? What am I being fueled by? And that's the same thing with the song. There's some excitement. There's something that causes that riff to come out in that way.
mm.
I sat down at the guitar and went da 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 ba da 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 bum bum, and I went, what does that mean? Where did that just come from just now? Why am I playing that? And then especially if I hear certain words just pop into my mind, and one of those situations that a lot of songwriters describe where it's like the song, it was like it was just playing on the radio in my head,
Mm.
and I thought, what is trying to be said here? So there's a different story for all of them. I mean, you mentioned When the Monster Attacks, and that was one where at first I was writing about someone else. I was looking out at the world and I was saying, look at how easily people are fooled into being told they need to be someone else, or they need to do something to themselves in order to be happy, when the happiness really comes from within. And then when I'm listening back to the song, it's a mirror. It's
Yeah.
really completely autobiographical, and I need to listen to the song for myself to figure out when I'm being fooled by that monster.
Mm.
That monster attacks all of us.
Mm.
So that was a personal a personal situation there, a personal feeling that inspired that. I would say that a lot of the time, the meaning of the album name is that when I'm discovering all of this, I really like to ask myself, what's the principle of the matter here?
Mm.
What's really universal here in that concept? Because again, I could be looking at someone else and saying, well, this is happening or that's happening, or I could look at myself and say, well, I feel this way. But what's the universal part of this? What part of this is always true and always operating on us as humans? And that's the part that I really like to write about.
Yeah, musically, kind of going along with that, it's a very bright sounding record. In a couple places, I kind of get a falling into infinity era Dream Theater vibe in a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
it. What's your approach to writing the music?
Right. So I really like to not limit myself in terms of styles.
Hmm.
And what that means is you can't go and write music and say, I'm going to put on my country hat now, and now I'm going to put on my metal hat, because then it just sounds like you're grasping at things and trying to be something that's not really authentic. Where it really has to come from is when you're listening to music and something may have rubbed you the wrong way the first time you listen to it, and then you watch someone else enjoy it and you think, well, how come they could enjoy it and I'm just going to sit here and say I don't like it? Like what's the joy in that? So I always challenge myself to just enjoy music for what it is and try to find that in all styles and try to find that in all artists and bands and think, well, they're coming to this from some authentic place somehow. Otherwise, it wouldn't be resonating with people. So, how can I relate and how can I understand? So, I always seek to understand that. And then what ends up happening is I end up falling in love with bands of all kinds of different styles. And I especially fall in love with bands that have wide palettes of styles like Toto and you've heard me talk about my favorite bands, Styx and Dream
Yep.
Theater. As you just mentioned, Falling into Infinity is a great Dream Theater album. They're they're very wide, eclectic bands. Queen, these are the
Mhm.
bands that I just grew up loving, and so I really just I find that those styles just find their way through me, and it just expresses some different part of what I'm experiencing. So that's I think that's where it comes from, but it's really just it's almost like I'm guessing that in hindsight because music
Yes.
just comes from this place where it speaks through you, and if you want to write music, it happens. Uh, Not to say that there isn't some degree of you have to sit down and make yourself do it, and then it's like once the faucet's on, then it starts flowing. Sometimes you have to kind of get the first idea out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just comes from a place of wanting to express something and wanting to give people that feeling that music has always given me and think about, well, how could I provide that feeling for someone else? What would be fun for someone to I would buy tickets to a concert and look forward to it. I still do.
Yeah.
Buy tickets to a concert and look forward to it for months. And that's the one thing I just cannot wait for this thing to happen and cannot wait to be there for those 2 hours. And I'm thinking, what can I provide for people that would be that thing? That would be worth waiting for months when you have a ticket. I want to put that thing on stage, and then I'll write it in the form of a song and get creative with it in the studio and add all kinds of different parts and fun things that are going to give you that experience that when you're listening in your headphones, you're going to enjoy it and you're going to have something to take away from it. It's going to make you think about something differently, or
Mhm.
there's all kinds of different all kinds of different inspiration for writing music, and it's endless, really.
Yeah. Now, onto the record itself. In addition to the great Marco Miniman on drums on a handful of songs, Steve Bonino on bass here and there, you play almost every instrument, and you also have almost every current member of Toto guesting here and there. After
Right.
playing their songs, what was it like for you to bring your songs to them and say, how about that, guys?
It's exactly that what you just described there. That was the feeling. It was like, wow, I walked into this band of guys who've been doing this for 50
Yeah.
years, 40 years longer than I've been doing this. And I I it's like I walked into it going, there's really no need for me to have an opinion on anything. I think they've got this under control. And then they are being supportive of me making my own music and then wanting to play on it. And it's like I have these guys at my disposal for playing my songs now. This is crazy. It was such a surreal feeling. So yeah, sitting there in the room with those guys. I mean, I'll never forget sitting there in the room with Luke as he's tracking the solo on my song, and he's like, "Well, what do you want me to play here?" It's like, I'm, whoa, yeah, it's
Here's
kind of
Steve
like
Lukather.
flip the script real quick, okay. But it was cool. They loved doing that, and they were so supportive of it. I mean, Shannon,
Mhm.
when he latches on to what the song is about, he puts that feel in the foundation, in the groove of the song. And so they're really that's why these guys were the top and are the top session musicians that everybody goes to, is because they don't just play the part, they really get into it and put themselves into it and add to the song. So I feel like it really is everyone's contributions that make the record what it is.
Mhm. Another guiding force on the record is one of my favorite people, and that's Ron Bumblefoot Thal. How did Ron get involved on the record, and what did he bring to mixing principle?
Uh, right. Yeah. Man, when I asked him to do that solo on games, and he is one of those guys. He understands the assignment.
Yeah.
He got that song and he's like, I know exactly what this needs. I mean, I imagine that's what he thought, because when he laid down that solo, it was just, that was exactly what the song was calling for. And it's singable, it's fun, but it's also flashy as heck. As it's just it it really takes that song to another level. Now he actually mastered the album.
Oh,
It was the album was
yeah.
mixed by Trev,
That's right. Trev Lukather
Steve
did the
Lukather's
mixing.
son.
Yes.
Yeah. So Trev did the mixing, which added a lot to the album, and then Bumblefoot, yeah, his master is just. I just trusted that he was going to know how this had to sound, because his album sounds so fantastic, and he mixed and mastered that. So yeah, that combo of having it mixed by Trev and mastered by Bumblefoot really just makes it sound, it's unique. There's something about it.
Uh, Toto's had a lot of lineups over the years, but the one consistent thing is that if you're asked to be a member, you're the best of the best at what you do. And having seen you live with them, you fall into that category. How did you first get involved
Maybe.
with the band? Yeah.
Well, actually, it was Bumblefoot who recommended me to them.
Oh,
So
really?
thank you, Ron. Yeah, Ron sent me a text out of the blue one day that said, "Hey, do you know a lot of Toto songs?" And I had done some cover gigs with Ron, with a band, and then also he and I did a gig on our own, and I wasn't sure if he just wanted to play more Toto songs or something like that. And he said, "I just referred you to them. They're looking for someone." So I was blown away. And 2 days later, I was on the phone with Luke, and I had the gig. But that's just, you know what? I mean, I look at it like this: if you show up, if if you show up over and over again prepared, and you love to do this thing, I mean, I could at least speak as far as music goes, but I'm assuming it's a similar situation in all industries. If you love to do what you do and you try to be the best at it that you can be, and you show up over and over again, and you're a cool person, and you have your priorities straight, and you realize that this is really about people wanting to hang with you more than it is about anything else, and your ability to get the job done is really only it services that. It services this ability for us to hang out and have fun together. Because if I show up and I don't have my part ready, or I can't play it, I'm not good enough to play that part, it's like, well, we can't keep doing what we're doing. So this is really about us getting together and enjoying each other's company and enjoying performing this music for the audience. So that's the perspective that I like to keep on it.
Mhm.
This is about getting together and having a good time, and all of the technical, all of the technique is the technique to be able to do that. So there's no balance of technique and fun. It's like the technique is your technique to have fun, and that's what music is to me. So I've always had that that kind of way of thinking about it and that perspective, and I think keeping that consistently is ultimately what landed me this gig. If I'm going to take a stab at what I think happened, but I also, I mean, you'd have to tell me from the outside, but that's, to me, that's my experience in the whole thing.
Yeah. Now, looking at some of your other work, you mentioned that you've worked with Ron. I first heard your name when you were playing with another one of my favorite bands, Pattern Seeking Animals, doing
Oh,
some
they're
live
great.
shows with those guys. Uh, who else have you worked with prior to this record and joining Toto?
Yeah, those guys in Pattern Seeking, those guys are awesome. I learned a lot playing with those guys too. Playing live, I didn't play on their albums,
Right.
but I played in their shows, and that was an excellent experience. And we played on Cruise to the Edge, which was a blast. And I also played in a cover band that I was just mentioning with the drummer of Pattern Seeking Animals, Jimmy Keegan,
Jimmy, yep.
and then and we, man, that cover band was I mean, I they were on another level. Those guys, I learned so much playing with them, and the previous drummer who was in that band too, Mike Lewis, and Bumblefoot was guesting with us, so that was a great thing to be involved in. I was in a bunch of tribute bands, some of which were of my own creation, if you can call it that, with a tribute band, but of a band that I put together. Like Stixology was my Styx tribute band. And, we had a lot of fun doing that. I still miss it to this day, even though there's just no time. There's only so much time in the day to work on so many things. So I learned a lot playing in those situations. You really, the way I think about it is, if you can get into those songs, and I actually had the privilege of playing in those cover bands and tribute bands in front of thousands of people. I mean, we had really good gigs in some of those bands. Same thing, the band Arch Allies that I played in. It was a really successful tribute band that did Queen, Journey, REO, Boston, Def Leppard, all in one show. And when you play those songs in front of 5,000 people and you see the way they react, you can't help but learn from those compositions and see what actually
What
connects
works?
with
Yeah.
people. And when I played in all of those bands, I had a friend who told me, you've learned more than you know you've learned just by playing those songs in front of people. You will carry that with you your whole life as a writer. And it's so true. I mean, you don't even have to try. And when next time you go and write a song, it's like you have everything that you've put into your fingers and into your mind and into your consciousness there. Even songs that you originally didn't like. I mean, you think in that cover band that we were playing all songs that was like I grew up loving? No, we played some songs that originally I probably hated when I was a kid or something, but once we start playing them, you fall in love with it and you realize, oh, this it's kind of like what I was saying before. You fall in love with where this song is coming from and why it connects to people. So yeah, all of those things played into it. But yeah, a lot of cover bands, tribute bands. I also had my own band, Initiator, years ago, that we put out an album, and again, major learning experience, and we made a really cool album. So there you go. There's some of my past, some of my history there.
Yeah. You talked about time, never enough of it. In Toto, you guys are booked for a good portion of the year. Do you see a time where you'll be able to kind of put a band together and go out and do some solo shows to promote Principle?
Oh, absolutely. That is the entire idea. And that's just another one of those really incredible lucky things. Not only is the band so supportive of me and my whole creativity as a musician and as an artist, and they want to support it and be a part of it. It also just turns out that Toto's touring schedule is kind of perfect for that, because it's just enough to where we could stay busy with Toto, but it's not so much like some of these other touring acts where it's not like we're doing 150 shows a year or something like that, where there's no time for anything else in between. We go out for a few months and then we have our time at home to kind of recharge and do whatever else we want to do. And then a month or two later, then we go back out. And that makes a perfect balance for me. So I already have some guys coming over to my studio, and we're jamming out some of these songs and we're working on it, so that when that opportunity arises, absolutely, we want to get out and play these songs live.
Can't wait to hear it. We've been spending some time today with Dennis Atlas. The record is called Principle. It's out everywhere on May 15th, but I saw on your socials that people can also get it if they show up to the merch booth at the Toto shows.
That's
So,
correct.
Dennis, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck with the record, and hopefully we'll catch you on the road soon.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. What a pleasure it was speaking with you.
Thank you.